Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the Big Bird and Mind Reader coloring right here. As you see right here, is I have about four symbols right here. And first of all, it's like you got Big Bird right there, and then you got right here is for the mind thinking, is that for the part for whenever you want to Big Bird, you want to write the name or whoever, is that if you were to complete a form or whatever you call it, could be a text form or whatever type of form, medical doctor form or something like that, then that more likely it would ask for your name and then today's date and then number of things such as your local address, you say such and such, but basically talking about with mind with Mind Reader, and basically talking about is that if we all ever heard is that if somebody were to give you directions, it's like if you were given directions on how to do something, say is directions to it could be driving directions, or it could be directions to how to complete a project or whatever you call it, but you got talking about as directions. And a lot of times, well, I guess with most with some teachers, or you say that they don't they may not tell you all the directions, that they more likely would tell you, I guess you say give you some clues. I guess you can also I guess some people may pronounce them as hints. Hints, it's like clues, I guess you can call them clues also. Hints and clues, and basically I guess that they really mean is that if they don't have enough time to write down all the details about such directions, if they were to give you homework or whatever you call it, or give you something to do, then more likely that they say that it's due on Friday or whatever you call it, due on Tuesday or Wednesday and such due on the 15th or something like that, then more likely that they may not write it down. They may just give you the work and then assuming that you're going to read my mind or whatever you call it. But basically, talk about for Mind Reader, in which I would probably say that a lot of people would probably think that that not everybody is really good at it, and I would probably say that sometimes I'm not really good at it. But I guess it's all a matter of fact about how well like your brain works with the communication. And of course I'm going to go ahead and draw a line right here, and of course with the line right here, clear, go ahead and start from from right to to left right here, is go ahead and draw like a line. And let's just say that if it's like you got with the eye, if your eye will be pointing to the left, but go ahead and start from the right, work your way down and then go to the left. And of course don't really have a whole lot of room, but basically is you have it right here. It's like you got little box design right here. But let's just say that if you were to start with a straight line and go from curve, and then maybe the diagonal, is like go diagonally, and which most of us here will probably say that that a lot of it is like talk about with Mind Reader is knowing about whatever direction that you would want to go, so far as speaking for what comes to your mind. And so far talking about with is something like maybe related to the human body or whatever you call it, that the way that the mind functions is like the type of talents that we were born with, and between the brain and then along with the heart and stuff, that we can all probably think that in a lot of ways that that with our bodies that they function the way that that they would normally function is like the way your stem cell, the way the cells and muscles would function, and then along with the way that your nerves and then along with all the other cells, all the other cells of the human body that you learned about it's like in science classes. But basically is talking about is for Mind Reader, that with Mind Reader is that this idea came up with right here is talking about is that how well you were to communicate with other people without without giving like instructions about maybe ways you can read their mind. A lot of times it's by the look maybe on their face, is that I'll go ahead and start out with crayon only right here, and I go ahead and I got about 17 colors right here to work with. But go ahead and start out just like to draw an eye. I'll go ahead and draw like an eye, a big bird right here. And a lot of times people would probably think that by their hand motions or by the eye. It's like if somebody were to give you a look, and I'm sure a lot of people here know what I'm talking about. It's like the way their eyes moved, and maybe the way the eyebrow moves. A lot of times it kind of gives out signals to it, like it signals, signs of signals to where that should I do this, should I do that, etc., etc. And a lot of people would probably think that doctors would think that if that's normal for most children to do that. And of course, is that with most children, that I guess way to communicate with the teacher, and in a way with whatever work that needs to be done. So as in the classroom, it is, and more likely, I don't know if it's really what you say is kept a secret, from all the other students or whatever you call it. It could be something personal that the student wants something personal to be said or whatever you call it. So they would be signing to somebody, maybe somebody who can't talk, that may use like sign language, and they may communicate just by the eye. On the other hand, too, that some teachers may say they go ahead and do the marker, and for most kids, it's like that for parent supervision is to know that with the marker is to try not to smear it, try not to lick it, as they say, which most markers I'm sure will be marked for non-toxic for non-toxic type ink products, but anyway, you got right here is the permanent marker. And with the eyeball right here, you get that with the left eye, and then along with the right eye it is. But basically, talk about between eye motions, you got the eye motions right here, and then with the heart, and then along with the brain. And you could probably think about is that with the eye motions is to know about if you were to do any type of work, such as it could be math or science or whatever it is. That is like one way to start is by going point from point A and it's like the point B. And I would probably say it's like to start out with the sentence is maybe by write your name. Write the name. And I don't know, I would probably think that a lot of people would probably say if you were to write that the name Big Bird. Let's just say if you wanted to write that Big Bird right here on the paper. You got right here Big Bird, and I guess there's other designs, other designs that you would have for like a design signature for Big Bird or Oscar or whoever, and other signatures as well. And then of course that most of those could be done I guess by your own your own mind. Is how your brain communicates with you say is for the between the people who have that type of talent to where they can communicate very well with should you do this, should you do that. It's like kind of talking to yourself, and a lot of people use that phrases by talking to yourself or signing to each other without saying a word. And a lot of doctors I'm sure would probably say that that is normal, that just a way that they have, a way for the transmitting languages between each other. And I would probably say that more likely a doctor or maybe a dermatologist or whoever would probably say that maybe they would recommend that more due to the fact because that if something important needs to be said, then more likely if signing or mind communicating is required for that purpose, then more likely it's required. If it's something important or something necessary, then more likely that to talk later than to talk later. But other than that, it's for a Big Bird mind reader is to know that I don't know if there's really any necessarily reason to why we think that that's abnormal, that's not allowed. But then on the other hand too is to know is that it take time for by listening between what's important and what's not necessary. But for that, it's for the Big Bird mind reader, and along with the artistic writing, and then along with the pictures, it's for the Big Bird and Big Bird mind reader color.